In the end, every lie we tell ourselves becomes a chain we cannot break, and every step toward pride becomes a step away from the light. Pride goes before destruction, and a haughty spirit before a fall. Proverbs las 4:18 de la tarde, when the fire of eternity finally opens its mouth. No heart remains hidden, no sin remains small, only truth and the weight of what we chose. Elias lived a life marked by noise in his mind, in his words, in the way he walked through the world as if every room existed only to witness him. He had a good job, enough friends to feel admired, and enough talent to impress anyone who didn't look closely enough. He loved the city, its lights, its movement, its constant invitation to be seen, and he craved being seen more than anything. His mornings were spent rehearsing confidence in the mirror, his afternoons chasing approval, and his nights feeding the restless emptiness he refused to name. Elias's worldview was simple. Worth was measured by applause, and so his sin grew pride, subtle at first, then consuming. He lied to protect his image. He pushed people aside for recognition. He mocked those who walked humbly. He had heard the truth of God when he was young, had once felt the warm pull toward grace, but he silenced it. Every time light reached for him, he turned his face away, choosing the comfort of his own reflection over the mercy of heaven. The fall had already begun, long before he ever touched the edge of a building. As the years passed, pride worked like rust inside him. His relationships crumbled first slowly, then violently. He became difficult to love, impossible to confront, and blind to his own coldness. His heart grew tired, though he never admitted it. The loneliness around him thickened. He filled it with empty achievements that cost him more than they gave. He ignored every quiet warning, his mother's trembling prayers, a pastor's gentle invitation, a friend's broken voice saying, "You're changing," and not for the better. He ignored disturbing dreams where he stood on high places with the ground cracking beneath him. He woke with his chest tight, afraid, but only for a moment. God reached for him twice with clarity he could not deny. First, when a co-worker, soft-spoken and trembling, asked if he wanted to join a small prayer meeting. Elias laughed in her face. He told himself he wasn't rejecting God who's weak, just simplicity. But heaven had extended a hand, and he pulled away. Second, one night, alone, he heard a sermon on linen planned, accidental. It spoke of repentance, of false confidence, of eternal consequence. His eyes stung. His heart shook, but he closed the tab before the preacher finished, whispering, "I'm fine. I don't need saving." The last opportunity faded, and pride sealed itself around him like stone. It happened on a rooftop, a place he often went to feel superior, to photograph himself above the city. That night, a group of acquaintances encouraged him to climb higher, to stand on the narrow ledge for a perfect shot. And he did, not because he wanted the view, but because he wanted their admiration. With the wind pushing against him, his heart pounding with artificial courage, he stretched his arms out and smiled. A false triumph, a proud performance. His foot slipped. There was no scream, only a gasp. A single moment of stunned disbelief as the world tilted away from him. The fall was quick, abrupt, soundless, against the cold night. One heartbeat, he existed in pride. The next, eternity took him. Silence swallowed everything. Elias opened his eyes to darkness, so thick it felt alive. The air burned his lungs with every breath, heavy, scorching, suffocating. A deep red glow pulsed somewhere far below, illuminating the valley of fire that stretched endlessly into the void. Churning flames twisted like living wind, circling silhouettes of people contorted in agony. Their shapes trembled, their mouths open in screams that reached him only as distant, smothered echoes. Hands-jawed, skeletal rose from the burning ground, grasping blindly at nothing. He staggered back, but there was no ground, only hot ash and trembling earth beneath his feet. The heat pressed against his skin like punishment. The loneliness sank into him like a weight he could not remove. Where am I?" His own voice sounded small, swallowed by the vastness of torment. Then came the voice, sorrowful and ancient, yet without a source. "You knew this place, Elias. You felt its warnings in life. He shook his head violently. No, I didn't choose this. I didn't know. You knew. The voice cut through him like truth, slicing bone. Every call to humility you rejected. Every whisper of repentance you silenced. You chose yourself over the one who could have saved you. He fell to his knees, hands sinking into burning soil that didn't consume but tormented. Faces in the flames turned toward him. Empty, grieving. Their suffering invaded his mind. Regret, terror, abandonment. The separation from God was not a concept now. It was a living wound tearing through him. Please, he whispered, give me one more chance. Just one? I'll change. I'll listen. There is no return. The voice held no anger, only finality. Pride built your prison. And pride brought you here. Elias screamed, but the sound barely escaped him, swallowed by infernal wind and echoing lament. His thoughts crashed into themselves. I was warned. I knew. I ignored every sign. He cried out to the heavens. He could no longer reach. He tried to shout to the living, to warn them, to tell them pride destroys the soul long before death touches the body. But nothing passed beyond the valley. His voice was trapped. Like he was. And then came the moment he truly understood what eternity meant. No more chances. No more time. No more applause. No more eyes to impress. No more rooftops to stand above others. Only the weight of his choice. Forever. And he sank into it, trembling. Pride always whispers promises, but delivers chains. Death never sends a warning. It arrives when the heart least expects it. While breath remains, mercy stands within reach, but when the final moment comes, the soul stands alone before truth. We shape our eternity with every step we take, and no one escapes the harvest of their own decisions. If this story stirred something in your spirit, walk with us. Subscribe, so your heart is never far from reminders of truth and eternity. And in the next episode, another soul will open their eyes in the valley of fire, carrying the weight of a choice they thought would never matter.